It was $50,000?
So Tamar gave me money for my down payment in 2018. She gave me $35,000. I have receipts. It was absolutely a gift. And it wasn't that I approached her. She said, but I want to help you get your house. And I was like, okay. And that's just something that we used to do as sisters, help each other. But now that I know what I know.
Every family is said to have secrets. But in the case of the Braxtons, those secrets have become federal evidence. A full-fledged criminal inquiry has resulted from what began as just another round of sister drama. At the heart of it all were Towanda and Tamar Braxton, a sister who was accused, another sister who was suspected of turning her in, and a whole family that was now on the verge of disintegration. Now, it started off softly, hidden under forgotten bills and sealed court documents. However, the internet went crazy when the FBI's Atlanta branch office allegedly reopened Towanda Braxton's bankruptcy case. According to documents that were leaked, Towanda may have concealed property, exaggerated her income, and possibly transferred assets into her husband's name. All of a sudden, the 2019 Chapter 7 filing didn't appear to be an error. It appeared to be a cover-up. However, the money wasn't what startled the fans. Inside the federal documents, there was a name. Listed as a creditor is Tamar Braxton. Towanda swore received a $35,000 loan as a present. The sisters were dragged into a tempest that had the potential to destroy everything they had constructed because of that one line, that one assertion. Because misstating the debt isn't only a family dispute under U.S. law, it's illegal. A false statement is punishable by years in federal prison under 18 U.S.C. Section 152. Furthermore, the federal government doesn't act unless they have evidence. The whispers began at that point. Those receipts were given to them by whom? Who directed the FBI's search? Lang consistently gestured to Tamar Braxton. These sisters had previously fought over money. Cameras had captured Tamar yelling at Towanda about Braxton family values well before the arrest. Since I made the down payment at the time, I am aware of your residence. It had a reality TV vibe to it, an intense scene that attracted viewers. However, it now seems like proof, because the house Tamar assisted in funding is the identical property that investigators said Towanda transferred into her husband's name just before declaring bankruptcy. The FBI deems this a strategy that screams asset concealment. Insiders claim that as the inquiry progressed, authorities subpoenaed shared phone accounts, credit line information, and old bank transactions. Things got personal at that point. Towanda Braxton was allegedly paying her own phone bills with Tamar's credit card. For years, thousands of dollars, 6 lines. What was formerly dismissed by fans as sisterly borrowing now appeared to be a part of a bigger trend. And it ended when that particular detail appeared on social media. Hashtag Braxton's fraud became popular. Memos, clips, receipts, everything. Every old quote and tweet became a clue. Tamar Braxton, meanwhile, said nothing. No shade, no tweets, nothing. Stillness in our family always signifies a strategy, so it's just a quiet kind of stillness that raises suspicions on the internet. Fans began to make connections. Days before the audit, Tamar published a series of cryptic posts. God exposes in timely tweets, and I'm done concealing lies. Screenshots never expire, but they have all been erased. It appeared to the public to be a warning wrapped in a confession. The arrest followed. According to early reports, Towanda Braxton was detained for interrogation after discrepancies between her income and her papers were discovered. The feds wanted to know why a woman who reported having less than $200 in her account continued to drive a $50,000 Tesla and reside in a Georgia house that was purportedly financed by unreported transfers. Unmarked cars arrived at dawn, according to neighbors. Paparazzi, noon, and sunset came next. The news of Towanda Braxton's arrest appeared on every American blog. However, it wasn't the shackles that made this arrest painful. There was a suspicion that those records had been given by Tamar Braxton. Family insiders maintain that Tamar's legal team merely assisted. She turned over financial transfers to clean her own record after being contacted by investigators. However, cooperation and betrayal appear to be identical to the fandom. It was best expressed in one widely shared comment. "Whether my sister is related to me or not, I'm protecting myself first if she lies to the authorities under my identity." That post received millions of views in hours. Even the unwavering matriarch of communications, Toni Braxton, began to retreat. She canceled a public appearance and discreetly deleted her name from shared company documents. Fans assumed it was a scheduling difficulty at Towanda's event. They now believe it was intentional survival, protection, and remoteness. Because proximity becomes dangerous when the FBI's special financial offenses are involved. When previous rumors reappeared, the narrative became more sinister. In 2005, Towanda Braxton was accused of forgery and theft by receiving in Atlanta. Beneath the family's growing notoriety at the time, it disappeared. But the FBI never forgets. Patterns are matter. And now that the family's history lurks behind every headline, trust is crumbled. Trina Braxton stopped sharing selfies of her family. Toni fell silent. Tamar was accused of selling her sister out, snitching and rescuing herself amid online backlash. Perhaps it wasn't betrayal, though. Perhaps it was survival. Because love turns into liability when federal subpoenas arrive at your home. However, something more profound is brewing underneath the shock and the memes. There is more to this than just deception. It concerns the real-time cracking of a legacy. Once associated with music, religion, and sisterhood, the Braxton name is now entangled in federal rules and court documents. Through paper trails, the same voices that previously harmonized on stage are now providing testimony. The internet had already taken sides by the time Towanda Braxton was freed on bond. The hashtags, #TeamTamar and #TeamTog became battlegrounds. However, the actual battle is not fought online. The courtroom is where it is located. And every sister's silence speaks louder than any words could. Because someone always breaks first when fame, wealth, and family come together under the bright lights of a federal probe. Additionally, if the reports are accurate, the Braxton family itself may be the source of the next rupture. Like thunder, the headlines were hidden. The FBI fraud case grows to include Towanda Braxton's arrest. However, one name persisted, despite everyone pointing fingers. The internet referred to Tamar Braxton as a hero, a traitor, a survivor, and a snitch. Every remark was a battle. There was a verdict in every stillness. The Braxton family, which had once been the epitome of unity, was now irreparably broken as a result of it all. According to others familiar with the inquiry, Towanda Braxton was questioned for hours after her initial detention regarding the undisclosed income, asset transfers, phone bills, and the enigmatic credit line in Tamar's name. The agents sought clarification. But it wasn't the documents that surprised everyone. The voice recordings were the cause. Because, according to one insider, the FBI had allegedly obtained phone conversations in which Towanda talked about ways to protect the house, the same property for which Tamar had claimed to make a down payment years prior. Everyone shuddered when they heard the words "protect the house." It sounded more like someone attempting to disguise it than a sister afraid about losing her home. And that's when Toni Braxton quietly stepped in. Not in public, never in public. But what she said a lot. According to insiders, Toni had removed her name from all joint ventures with Towanda due to potential conflicts of interest, just days before the FBI's Financial Crimes Branch broadened its inquiry to cover related accounts. Fans took notice of the timing. Translation: you may soon be questioned if your name was connected to Towanda's money trail. At that point, the family started to feel more and more fear. Even the former peacemaker Trina Braxton vanished off the internet. No more captions about sisterhood forever. No more selfies. There was an overwhelming hush in Braxton. It was more than simply humiliation. Every post, statement, and word might be subpoenaed. Thus, it was a tactic. Love has become a burden in this household. In the meantime, Tamar Braxton avoided contact, at least in public, but also in private. According to reports, her cooperation was motivated by protecting her personal reputation rather than retaliation or resentment. According to insiders, her team had escrow documents, wire transfers, and bank receipts proving that the $35,000 she gave Towanda was not a gift, it was a payment. And that's what opened the case completely. Because lying about gifts or obligations can completely alter the definition of fraud under bankruptcy law. All of a sudden, this was more than just sibling conflict. It was a federal offense. It was unbelievable to the fans. How did it get to this point? How did the Braxton family, once regarded as the R&B sisterhood's royal lineage, come under FBI scrutiny? The reason behind this is that the celebrity conceals everything until it doesn't. All the loans, favors, and things I got you. When the camera stopped filming, sis becomes toxic. They sang about forgiveness and love for 4 years. They are now living in silence and treachery. They are currently experiencing silence and betrayal. Additionally, it became darker the deeper investigators delved. According to insiders, the FBI had frozen Towanda's company accounts in addition to her personal ones. She boldly advertised the skincare products on Instagram. According to rumors from court spectators, the consulting firm operating under her husband's name was highlighted during the audit. Transfers originating from offshore accounts are being examined by prosecutors, allegedly connected to that specific company. Reports began to use the term multi-year concealment scheme. The Braxton family brand, which was based on harmony, suddenly gained notoriety for financial fraud. However, the psychological toll was greater for Tamar Braxton than any criminal penalty. Fans began to analyze her previous interviews in which she sobbed about betrayal, loneliness, and bearing her family's responsibilities. She was cautioning us. She was telling the truth in real time, a fan commented. Those old tears seemed less dramatic all of a sudden. They appeared prophetic, since what's left to defend when your own sister supposedly lists your money as a lie? In the meantime, Towanda Braxton's husband attempted to defuse the situation by characterizing the rumors as inflated and legally incorrect. On those property deeds, however, his name is indicated differently. According to reports, weeks before the bankruptcy filing, Tamar's name was switched to the Georgia home he had paid into. That is concealment from the feds. Fans see it as a betrayal. For Tamar, it's proof that love turns dangerous when it isn't sincere. Some of Towanda's financial transactions, according to the FBI, go beyond poor bookkeeping. They are purportedly investigating fraudulent transactions, forgeries, and misrepresentations. The same patterns that resemble her arrest for theft and fraud in Atlanta in 2005. The charges vanished silently back then, but there is nowhere to hide this time. Too much evidence, too many eyes, and too many internet dots. Then the unexpected turn of events occurred. There are rumors that Towanda Braxton may receive a plea offer. According to insiders, if she cooperates and identifies everyone who profited from her papers, prosecutors may consider reducing her sentence. Translation: other Braxtons may be implicated in the lawsuit if their names, even inadvertently, appear in those documents. Tony's quiet feels more like defense than distance. It's a graceful survival. The most depressing aspect, however, is that court dates and investigations have now eclipsed the Braxton legacy. Decades of music, harmony, and love. People were previously healed by their music. Hearts are broken by their silence now. Every fan who used to hope for a reunion tour now questions whether they will ever see these sisters perform live together. Because reconciliation is impossible when family egos and federal cases meet. Fans will never forget one particular moment. Tamar Braxton once declared, "The only time we come together is when the cameras roll," while staring directly into the camera. It sounded like a shadow back then. The truth appears when the lights go down, and this time it has badges, subpoenas, and court seals, which makes it sound prophetic. As it is right now, if convicted of fabricating financial statements, Wanda Braxton could go to jail. Tamar Braxton doesn't say anything because she doesn't want to fan the flames, but her silence has already spoken. Toni Braxton, the matriarch of COM, is discreetly rebuilding her distance, brick by brick. Perhaps that is the most egregious irony of all. The sisters who used to sing about war and love are now experiencing both. This time, however, there is only paperwork, suffering, and public condemnation instead of melody or harmony. The Braxton name will endure, yes, but not unaltered or unscarred, because even family can turn into evidence when love and law collide, when truth and treachery collide. And one question looms over everything like a storm cloud as the next court date nears. Was it retaliation, or was it the only way for Tamar Braxton to fully free herself if she really turned in her sister, freed herself?